Okay, so the given information is the operators is $47 per hour, general labor is $34 per hour, equipment either rental or maintenance, it's a front end loader, is $85 per hour, motor grader is $70 per hour. Those are the stuff, the equipment and the labor needed for conduct this grading activity. And the material for here, we don't count any material yet for this grading. And we want to know what is the total cost over here, the total cost. Okay, let me shift my video, my camera to here. Okay, so let's do the calculation over here. Last time we calculated this resource. Now we want to calculate the cost related information. Okay, let's see how to calculate the cost. So we calculate, so the cost, we need to calculate the labor first, and then the equipment, and then sum it all. We got this. So first, let's count. So this part, we're gonna do the cost calculation. Cost calculation first, let's see the labors. Labors include the operators. So operators is given by $47 per hour. This is each hour, $47 per hour. From this calculation, you can see over here, this is 2 days, 2 operator, and 8 hours per day. So operator, we will use this many of labor hours. So let's multiply this one, multiply this guy is 32 labor hours. So this is per labor per hour, okay? And then we got for operators, we need $1,504 for the operator. And then the general labor is $34 per labor per hour. Again, we have over here 2 general labor needed and 2 days, 8 hours per day. So this is another 32 labor hours for general labor. So that one give us $1,088. This is for labor's cost. And then for equipment cost. For equipment cost, we have 2 types. One is front end loader. Front end loader is rental is $85 per hour, per equipment per hour. And then we need how many? We need 2 days, 8 hours per day. So here we have 16 hours needed. So this one will give us $1,360. And we also need a motor grader. This equipment rental is $70 per hour in the given information. And then it need 2 days also, 16 hours. So this one gave us $1,120. So no material, material is 0. So the total will be get the sum of all of this. Sum of all of this is equal to $5,072. That's how Primavera calculate each type of labor and each type of equipment. And by given the period of time, it gets a summation for you. So you can appoint it each type of labor separately. You can, and for any window of period. So Primavera gonna do the same calculation, do the summation for you. Okay, this is the WBS structure Primavera used. Okay, very simple calculation. Just use the labor hours times the total labor hours. So unit price, unit rental for equipment, for labor, and times the total hours. Resource times the unit price give you the cost. Okay, this is very simple. Okay, let me go back to sharing my screen. So then this chapter is done. Next, let's go to our next chapter. Okay. So our, change this video. Okay. So that's our introduction chapter. The introduction chapter tells you how to, what is some basic concepts, like what is planning, what is scheduling, and some bar chart information, and the Primavera. Just a general introduction on the concepts and the most popular use, bar chart and Primavera. Now, because of the limitation of this bar chart, we talked about last week. So over here, we're gonna use a network model as a help, as addition to the bar chart to show more information, like the logic relationship and more information on resource calculation, more information on cost calculation. So now let's focusing on this network model. So how to develop a network model? So last week, we already introduced the basic concept of a network model. So network model is using a network as a scheduling tool. Using a network as scheduling tool. So network model typically combined with bar chart showed on your schedule document, schedule document. Okay, so this is an example of a network model for a concrete wall erection project. So you can see this is 6 different activities, A, B, C, D, F, 6 activities. So as I mentioned, the key point over here is those are called nodes. Nodes represent activities. Layout wall, replace rebar cage, place rebar cage, erect wall forms, tie rebar, check wall form, place concrete. Those are activities. So nodes represent activities. And the link lines, those are called logic link lines. Logic link lines represent the logic relationship among those activities. So if I don't write anything over here on the line, if I don't write anything on the line, this line represents a finish to start relationship. I finished the previous one. From the left-hand side to the right-hand side. I finish this one, I can start this one. I finish this one, I can start this one. So the logic, this link lines represent a logic relationship, Okay, so now let's see how to draw, how to build a network model, how to create this. So first of all, we need to define activities, find a list of all the activity needed. Typically, this part of work is your company's standard or based upon historical document. Okay, and then is to order these activities. So which one should I finish first? Then I finish which one, and then I can start which one. So this is order these activities. Then based upon the order, third step, we're gonna draw the network diagram, basically precedence diagram for this class. And maybe arrow diagram in my master class. Okay, advanced scheduling class, I teach them how to draw arrow diagram as well. In this class, we only do precedence diagram, draw the network diagram. Okay, and then is assign duration to activities, puts the duration to the node of each of all the activities. And then is to assign resource and cost to each activities. So how to do that? This number 4 and item 4 and item 5, we're gonna cover it in chapter 6 and 7. Chapter 6 and 7 in this textbook. Chapter 6 and 7 in this textbook. And then is to calculate early start, late start, early finish, late finish. So over here, early and late, start and finish time. So there are 4 of them: early start, early finish, late start, late finish. So I will explain each of them a little bit later. And then based upon this early start, early finish, we're going to calculate something called a float. So there are 2 types of float I will introduce to you. One is called free float. One is called a total float. So that's a main concept I'm going to introduce today. Okay, total float and a free float. Today we're going to cover this part. And also over here, early start, late start, early finish, late finish. Okay, and then is to identify the critical path. After we calculate the float, critical path is very easy to identify, very simple step. And then last step is to pick a time in the range of early start, early finish, late start, late finish as the starting and finish time. If there's no limitation, then typically we use early start, early finish as the final picked start and finish time. Okay. Okay, this is the framework. Some bullet point of the framework. If we want to build a network model, what we need to do. So this one, as I said, number 4, we're going to cover in chapter 4 and 6, and resource and the cost we're going to cover in chapter 7. And this part over here, we're going to cover in chapter 2 right now. The first 3, we cover chapter 2 over here. And this part, we're going to do in chapter 3, probably today or early next week. Probably today. Today we're going to cover probably, I don't know if we can finish that or not. But today we're going to finish 1, 2, 3, and the 6 and 7. I try to finish this 5 item. Number 4, as I mentioned, chapter 4 and 6. Number 5, chapter 7. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Okay, let's see the item 1. Item 1, how to find activities. So basically, as I said, this is not something we can teach you at school. So basically, it's different company have their different preference of their activity list. So if there's no experience at all, this is a new, you can check master format 2004, 2010, 2016. Typically, they give you a list of, for this type of work, what detailed activity you need to think of. However, this list, it typically is too detailed. Way too detailed. So not many companies use that. They use their practical, use something they summarize in practice. Okay, so that's why over here in this class, I will not have a exam problem ask you to define activities, to provide an activity list for a problem. That's not a test problem, okay? Typically, I gave you a list, ask you to do further work, okay? So this activities, to define those activities typically include 3 different types of activities. One is construction and production type of activity. This is actually working activity. And there's a procurement activity, buy material, equipment rental, those type of activity. And there's another type is called management type of activity, such as the inspections, such as shop drawing approval, and some certification. For example, on factory test, this type of activity is called management activities. So basically, when you provide this list, when you prepare this list, we should consider those 3 different types of activities. Okay, again, this is totally based upon the company experience and your experience. So it depends on how large this project is. If this is a very large project, maybe you don't want too much small details. Okay, let's see one example over here. So let's do this way. So for example, for this, I want you to list activities of a concrete footing project. I want to pour a concrete footing over here. So what should I do? So before I provide you my list, I want you to use a couple of minutes provide a list. You think what is important. For example, you need probably buy concrete and place concrete. There's a form work. There's a rebar work. So think about it. Use a couple of minutes. Probably write down on a piece of paper, and then I will provide you my list. As I said, there's no correct or wrong over here. Different company based upon their own experience, they may prefer use different lists as long as it covers major part, important key part. You won't miss anything. That's a good list. Okay, I'm gonna show you my list. So it include layout foundation. So basically you draw the location over here. Draw the location over here. Have dig the hole, dig this hole, excavation work. And form work, okay, form work. And pour concrete. And and also there's okay, buy steel rebar, buy rebar. This is not in order yet. Next step, we're gonna order this activity. This is just simply a list. So cut and bend rebars, cut and bend those rebars, place rebars, and there's an order concrete. So you can see we have two procurement type of activity. Others are all construction production activities. Okay, so this is the list. Okay, now, so if I have a project to build a residential house, so what type of activity you can think of? So give you 5 minutes to give it a try. Residential house, what type of activity you want to list? This residential house, you can see there is a brick and there is facade work. So you can think of what type of activity you want to list over there. In a few minutes, I will provide you my list over here. Okay. So let's see my list. Maybe not exactly same as yours. As I said, this is based upon company's experience, your own experience. And as long as you don't miss any key steps, that will be a good list. So let's see what I have over here. Excavation work and the slab work and the temporary electrical framing work for the wall, framing work of the roof, and windows and door, rough electrical, shingle, the roofing work, brickwork, siding, other siding work. You can see that house, including siding and the bricks, and insulation, a drywall, interior finishing, a paint exterior, paint interior, and finish electrical. Okay. All the outlets, all the lights stuff. Inspection and cleanup. That's it. Okay. Okay. So that's a list. So I already posted online on Canvas, so you can check the list over there. Okay. This is my list. Okay. Now let's see. Next step. That's the first step is to find the list. Find a list. As I said, this is your experience, your company's experience. So to identify a reasonable list. The key point is, as I said, don't miss any key steps, key activities. Okay. And then to order these activities. How to order? It's based upon some constraints. Okay. There are several types of constraints. In this chapter, we only cover part of it. When we talk about other chapters, we will talk about other constraints. So over here in this chapter, we mainly gonna focusing on the physical constraints, which is the step order you need to follow for this construction work. So basically, for example, it's you have to place concrete before you can erect frames. So this is physical constraints. Resource constraints. So for example, you have only one crane, you have several activities need this crane to conduct work. So those type of activity cannot work at the same time. Another example, you only have 5 masons, a team of 5 masons. You don't want to hire extra for this project. Then some activity need 4, some activity need 3. So this type of activities, you can let them work on the same day. Okay, so that's resource constraints. Resource constraints, we're gonna handle that in chapter 6. Resource constraints, we're gonna handle that in chapter 6. Use a method called resource allocation. Okay, is handling resource constraints. And then there's a safety constraints. How to handle this? Typically, we add some safety type of activities. For example, build safety barrier, we add an extra activity to show the safety constraints type of work. And the financial constraints based upon cash flow. If you have a money limitation, then what shall we do? If you want to conduct it faster, what shall we do? So this type of analysis, cash flow analysis, and if you want faster, you need to pay more. This type of analysis, we call that trade-off analysis, trade-off analysis. So for cash flow analysis and trade-off analysis for financial constraints, we're going to cover that concept in chapter 7. Chapter 7, we're going to cover this. And the next one, environmental constraints. For example, if you're building a dam, so you need to consider the spawning season, fish run season, this type of thing. So this type of constraints we will not cover in this class. So others like management constraints is demand from other project, contractual type of constraints. So regulatory constraints, government requirements, something like that. Those constraints, we handle that similarly as the resource allocation. Handle that similarly as resource allocation. So we will not give any example on this type of constraints. The methodology similar to resource allocation type of analysis. Okay, so now let's, this is how to order. So then it's the methodology, order activities methods. How many commonly used method are there? Typically we have three methods. One is called IPA or IPA table, IPA table. So immediate preceding activities table. And the ISA table, immediate succeeding activities, immediate preceding activities, and the immediate succeeding activities. Basically, what that tells us is for every activity, find IPA of that, or find ISA of that. So I will use an example to show you how to do that, how to complete an IPA table. So for our Primavera lab 2, I will ask you, I will provide you an IPA table, let you type in Primavera. Primavera can identify IPA table and ISA table. Either way is fine. Either way is fine. IPA table, ISA table, either way is fine. Primavera can identify both of them. Okay, next week, that's next week's Primavera. Today's Primavera, I just ask you to trying to log in and then type in some company general information. Yeah, let's see. As I mentioned in the announcement, today's lab, we're gonna have a hybrid format. I prefer you to go there because the TA is over there to help you face-to-face to get hands-on on Primavera in F187. That can give you the best, probably best help. And if you don't want to go, I understand. You can use remote access. Remote access methodology. I will ask. I will post some CENT support, our computer support. Send me some introduction or some tutorial for that. I will post it online, but that's not very easy to handle. And also a lot of, I don't know, I have difficulty time when I run that. And also it's kind of slow, much slower than you work in F187. So I prefer you work on in F187, but if you're worried about the pandemic or something, I understand. So it's a hybrid format. If you prefer remote, that's okay. If you prefer face-to-face in F187, that's good. The TA is over there to help you. Okay, so let's come back to our IPA table. So immediate preceding activity table, immediate succeeding activity table. For some very simple network, probably you can draw that directly. But for construction scheduling work, most of the case that's not doable. Okay. Now let's have our IPA try to draw our IPA table. Let me show you how to get an IPA table over here. Use this example. So let me turn to my task over here. So this is the list I just showed you in previous example 2.1. This is the activity list I prepared. I want to order it using IPA table. I will show you how to do that. So let me stop sharing over here and then let's see how to log in Primavera. It's I already posted. I will talk about that later. I will talk about that later when we have the lab. The first thing today in the lab is I show you how to log in, and then you go through that a tutorial or instruction assignment with you together quickly. I probably use 5-6 minutes to go over that Primavera assignment with you, and then you can work on it. Some students, based upon previous experience, some student can finish it very quickly in 30-40 minutes. Some student will need not only 3 hours, but also some extra time work on that. So let's see. So I will talk about that in detail later. Okay. Yeah, it's 19. Let's have a 10 minutes break right now, and at 10:30 we come back, and then we will finish this example. So let's have a 10 minutes break now. Let me start the recording first. Okay. Okay, so for this example, this is our example. This is our example 2.3. Example 2.3. So this one is, we have activity A, which is layout the foundation. Activity B is dig the foundation. And activity C is to the formwork. Activity D is pour concrete. Activity E is by by rebar. Activity F is cut and bend rebar. Cut and bend rebar. And activity G is place rebar. And activity H is by concrete. Okay, now on the right hand side over here, we have another column called IPAs. So we need to prepare IPA table, we need to go over each item to find which activity has to be completed immediate before that. So for example, if I want to dig a foundation, I have to know where is the location. So then the layout is immediately before dig. So B's IPA then is A. Okay, let's see which activity need to be before layout. So don't mind about any shopping stuff, because shopping stuff can do anytime, okay, anytime. So we handle that later. So we don't use this one to be before that. That's not necessarily has to be before layout, okay? So after layout, you can also buy something. So let's see, before layout, which activity must be finished right before layout? So there's nothing. This is actually the starting point. Layout, find the location is starting point. So there's no IPA for that one. Okay, for dig, next one, B, to dig a foundation. Dig the foundation, I have to know the location. So what activity is IPA of B? So what activity is IPA of B? Layout, very good. So over here, A is that. Okay, and for the formwork, place the formwork. Which activity should be before formwork? What active? Very good. B. So I have to have the hole, then you can put the form on the side of the hole. Next one is a little bit hard. Pour concrete. If I want to pour concrete, I need to get the concrete ready. So H, I know H is one of them. I need to get concrete ready. So I have to buy concrete before I can pour. And in addition to this, typically a procurement type is not, if procurement is somewhere over here, there must be something else, because construction, physical constraints, there should be something. So which one is the physical constraints? Which one must be finished right before pour concrete? You can see over here. You can see right now the condition is ready to pour the concrete. So right now you can see which activity is right before pour concrete? I should get form ready. I should get also the rebar ready. So which one happens first? I should put formwork first, or I should put rebar first? The formwork first, and then put the rebar. If you put the rebar, then the formwork is hard to insert over there. And if you want to put formwork, it's easy. It's still empty over here. Put the formwork on the side and then put the rebar. So that means the IPA of pour concrete, is get the rebar in place. Okay, get the rebar in place. So let's see which one is get the rebar in place.
By rebar.
No, I mean, which one is get the rebar in place? Place rebar. Get the rebar in location. So which one need to immediately before I pour concrete? Among those, very good. G. Okay. So place rebar. Put the rebar in location. This one. Okay. So this one has G. This one has two of them because there is one is procurement type of activity. Okay, buy rebar. I can buy it anytime. So typically for procurement, no IPAs. Okay, cut and bend. Which one should be finished before I can cut and bend the rebar? Which activity I have to finish before I can cut and bend the rebar? Very good, E. So I need to have rebar I can cut and bend. Then I want to place rebar. What is need to be ready before I place rebar? Which one is the IPA for E and F? Immediate. What immediate means? F, very good. We have F. My question is there any other? In addition to F, for sure, I need to get the cut and bended rebar before I can place them. And the construction-wise, see the hole over here? Before I place this rebar at those locations, what need to be done before that? What need to be done before place the rebar? The hole is ready, you want to place the rebar, or the form is ready, you want to place rebar? This is the question. Very good, very good. It should be form. It should be form. You, as I mentioned, you do that is You dig the hole, put the form, and put the rebar, and put the concrete. This is the step, okay? Get the location, dig the hole, put the form, and then lay out the rebar, and then you got concrete pour. That's a basic procedure. So over here, in addition to have the rebar ready, have this rebar cut it and bend it, then we need the form ready. So over here has a C. Buy concrete. What need to be done before buy concrete? This is a procurement type of activity. There is none. Okay. So this is the procedure. This is the procedure. Okay. So how to prepare a list to IPA table. This is my activity list. And for each item, find activities has to be done immediately before that activity. So the immediate, very important, IPA, immediate preceding activity. Not the one before that, immediate before that. IPA table, okay? So let's go back to our screen over here. So based upon the analysis, we got the table like this, okay? If you didn't write it down, that's okay, because in my notes, I already posted over here. Okay, this is one example. Now, I want you, this is the list I provide to you for building that residential house. I want you to use 5 minutes to prepare let me change the video. Okay, so now provides the IPA table for this one. IPA table for this one. Don't see my next page answer yet. Don't see my next page answer yet. Try it by yourself. Try it by yourself. Think about the construction, production constraints, physical constraints. Think about physical constraints. This one is a little bit easier because there's no procurement type of activity. So, however, there are, you need to finish several things, then you can start another one. So try it first and then see my next page. Give you 5 minutes. So can we move on? Or you need a little bit more time to practice this IPA table? Do you need more time on this example? Or we can move on. Okay, okay. Let's move on. Oh, that one. Thank you. Well, I forgot to add this assignment link. I will do that today. I will do that today. Thank you for the reminder. I forgot. Okay, okay. Then let's see. This is the build a house IPA table I prepared before excavation. We need to do nothing, no IPA table before that. And for the formwork and the pour slabs, we need the excavation. We need the excavation ready. And also for template electrical, we need got the excavation ready. And for frame exterior wall, we need the electrical, temporary electrical. We need to use power tools, and we need the slab ready. So B and C go to frame electrical external walls. Then after we got the framing, wall framing, to frame the roof, we need to get the wall frame ready. Then you can put the roof framing. And also install the window on the door, you need got the wall framing ready. For rough electrical, the wires inside the wall, so you need get the if you want to rough electrical, the electrical wires inside the wall, inside of the roof. So you need to get the framing, the roof framing and wall framing ready. But this one is after that, so it's IPA, immediately preceding one. It's just E. And the shingle roof, you need to get the roof frame ready. So it's also E. Brick facade. Brick facade is F. It's window and door ready. You can add brick over there. Siding, same thing. Siding and brick typically is parallel. And insulation, if you want to do insulation, you need to have F ready. So in the framing, both of the wall and the roof framing should be ready. And also G is the rough electrical need to be ready. So this electrical is finished, then you can start insulate. Install drywall, of course, you need the K after insulation, and also there's a H, the shingle the roof. Typically, only we have the roof shingle, finished shingle the roof, then you can protect the drywall. Otherwise, if it's rain, it's completely damaged. Okay, and then it's paint exterior, paint interior. This one definitely need the drywall ready. This one, you need the siding ready. So it's J. Okay, this siding ready, you can paint it. The drywall ready, you can paint it. And then finish electrical, we need to have the painting finished. Then you can add the outlet stuff and the light. So this one is, so you have exterior painting ready, interior painting ready, and also the brick front side ready. Then we can finish do the finishing electrical work, add all the outlet. And last one, after finish electrical, install all the fixtures and the outlets, and then we can do the last one, inspection and the cleanup. So basically, this is you need to use logic to base upon construction constraints, physical constraints, then analyze one by one. So which one should be keywords is immediate before that one. Okay. Now after we got the IPA table, next step is to draw the precedence diagram. I will show you a little bit later how to use the IPA table I gave you and draw the precedence diagram. This is the precedence diagram for this example. This is the precedence diagram. So next chapter, I will teach you how to draw that one. And this is the arrow diagram. Arrow diagram I showed you before. It's over here. Arrow represents activity. Nodes represent of event. So, but this is not the content of this class. In this undergraduate class, I will not cover this. This is just show you what it look like. And then after we got all this information, we need to add the duration of each activity. So how to add duration? Duration's unit. It depends on what is the size of the project. Sometimes for extremely large project, maybe we use months as unit. Typically, we use days. Very small projects, we use hours. Sometimes also use weeks as a unit of duration. So, and how to calculate the duration for each activity. We will cover this content in chapter 4 in detail next week, not now. So basically, the basic equation I listed over there. Basically, the expected labor hours is by the expected quantity of work. Expected quantity of work divided by your productivity based upon your previous data. Productivity of your company based upon previous data. This is expected upcoming project, your estimated quantity of work divided by your productivity. You can estimate what is the total labor hours you need. That is the total resource. And then how to get your productivity, previous data's productivity is based upon previous work's total quantity of work divided by the labor hours you actually used. Then this is your productivity. Then after you got the labor hours, you use the labor hours divided by how many laborers is available. Then you can calculate, you can estimate what is the duration in hours. If you want in days, then divided by 8. If you want in month, divided by 8 and divided by 30, then this is how we calculate the number. I will show you how to add this number in table, in the diagram. Anyway, this detailed calculation, we're going to cover that in chapter 4, probably next week or the week before, the week after next week. Now is resources and the cost. Is chapter 6 and 7. We'll cover this part. Right now, we just leave that blank, and then it's calculate the early start, late start, early finish, late finish time. So I will cover that. Let's see, right now we still have 20 minutes. I may have time to cover this today. And as I said, after we calculate the early time, early start, early finish, late start, late finish, then we're going to calculate the critical path and the float. And then it's pick the actual scheduled time. Okay, this is chapter 2. Now, let's move into chapter 3, how to actually draw and calculate the precedence diagram. How to draw and calculate precedence diagram for the network logic model. Okay, so let's see. The component of precedence diagram, I mentioned this several times already. So it has nodes, represent activities. For example, this guy has 5 different activities over here. And the link lines is represent, this link lines represent logic relationship. Okay, logic relationship. After I finish layout the pool location, then I can dig the hole and set the poles. Okay, this is finish to start logic relationship. After I finish this, after I finish dig holes and set the poles, I can set the truss and the roof frame. After I finish this, I can install roofing, I can install the siding. So those are finish to start relationship. Those are link lines, only 2 components for the diagram. So now, how to draw this diagram? So by this IPA table, how to draw? This is the IPA table we have, how to draw it. Okay, then let's move to my other camera. I will show you how to draw that. Okay, this is our IPA table. Now we want to use this IPA table. Then this is our example 3.1. This is example 2.3. Is find the IPA table. Now use this IPA table is draw the precedence diagram. This one is draw precedence diagram. How to do that? Again, go over the table one by one. So first, which activity is the starting point? There are several starting points, but typically we start with the actual construction type of activity, not procurement. This one, we will trace back. So we don't need to consider this. We don't need to consider this. Actual starting point is A, layout. draw a node. Okay. And then which one following that? Then we go through this table, find A. A is on the diagram. So you find A, then see which activity is that. This is B. That means B is following A. Following A is B. B is dig. Dig the foundation. Use a line, connect that. So which one following B? Through the table, through IPA table, which one following activity B? So what I should draw after B? This node is what? C, very good. C, activities, because you find B over here, find this is activity C, it's form work. Then which one following C? Go through this table, which one following C? Very good. Next one is G. Okay. This one is G. G is rebar. Place rebar. Place rebar. Okay, following that. But you can see, in addition to a C, there is an F. That means we need to trace back to the procurement activity. That means there's a branch over here. You draw a branch. So in addition to C, there's an F before that. So you need to trace back to F. F is cut and bend. Cut and bend is not procurement yet. Cut and bend is not procurement yet. Then we need to trace back further. So this one trace back to E. Okay, trace back to F, and F trace back to E. So over here, E is a procurement. So that's another end of this branch. This is the end of that branch. E is buy rebar. Okay. And then, so what is after G? What is after G then? Right now, the ending point of our diagram is G. What is after G based upon the table? Very good. G is over here. Look at its which activity is D. So D is after G. D is pour concrete. Pour concrete is D. But again, there is another one. That means we need to trace back again. There's another branch of D, which is H. H is what? H is over here by concrete. This is H. H is a procurement, so that's the end of that branch. Okay, so you have already traced everyone, then it's done. So another way to find if this is done, you can check the last one, D. Last activity in our diagram is D. You find from the table, there's no D at all. Okay, there's no D at all in the table. Then this is the end. Okay, any questions about this? Just a trace the table, and if there's two of them, trace back. This is how Actually, Primavera can draw this directly for you if we have the IPA table. This is, I'm teaching you for some simple project, how to do it by hand. Show you how to do this type of work by hand. Primavera can do it automatically for you. Okay. Any questions about this? So last 10 minutes, this is, if you didn't draw this yet, it's over here, same thing. So this is the main, this middle line I have, it's over here. This is one branch, this is another branch over here. So this is the answer. Okay. Now, for the last 10 minutes, I want you to try use this. Draw a diagram over here. I didn't post the answer for that. I want you to really try this one, and I will show you my answer. Oh, what I'm doing. It's I need to share the screen with you. This one, I want you to do this one. So this page is the answer. For the last example, I showed you I work on this paper. And then now I want you to, based upon this IPA table over here, to draw this precedence diagram. Come on. So do you want me to use this as a homework or you don't? I can assign this as a homework or if you don't want to uh, want it as a homework, you can just you just want it as a, you know, used by yourself to practice. I'm fine with it. Do you want I assign this as a homework? Just practice? That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, use this as a practice. So I will not assign that as a homework. Practice. Then probably I can post my answer like this. Where's my answer key? So I give you some time to work on it. Then probably sometime during later this week, I will scan this page and post it online. You can check your answer. Okay. This is the answer key for that. I will post that, scan it and post it online. So, but I do want you to practice this. This is an important step. So use IPA table, manually change it to precedence program. So Primavera do it directly for you. For some simple one, if you do it by hand, you know the procedure, and sometimes you can use that to check if your Primavera is correct or not, because you know Primavera is a software. There's many possible, you know, typos, small errors somewhere when you type in, when you input, then when you set up something. So it's possible to have error. If you can manually check it, compare with Primavera's answer, that give you more confidence on the Primavera analysis results. Okay. So that's why this is a pretty important step. Okay, I think that's it for today's class. I will stop recording.